I kind of want to talk about Xbox in Japan. We just, again, this the biggest story of the day? It's not, but it does have a significant amount of substance. Now, what we do know is the Xbox Series X and S. How much do they actually sell in Japan? Probably not good at all. Japan has not been a market for Xbox since inception. They made some strides during the 360 because they had some pretty strong Japanese exclusives in regards to JRPGs like Blue Dragon, like Lost Odyssey. There was quite a few others, and it moved the needle a pinch. Now, was it record breaking? Well, for Xbox and for Microsoft, yes. But when you compared it to like what Sony has done and what Nintendo has done, it's single digits. It's not that big of a deal. But Sony announced at the beginning of the week, Mr. Umbra, that they were raising the price of the PlayStation 5, both versions. They were also raising the price of the Portal and PlayStation VR 2.0, which that to me is a head scratcher because, damn, that thing is not selling. But they raised the price. Now, a day later, it was reported by many people on the socials that Xbox Series X and S jumped up and was selling out left, right, and center. Now, I pulled a particular tweet from GPT Gaming News, and it's at GPT Gaming News on Twitter. You should follow them. I follow them. I'll tell you right now who they are. They have nearly 68,000 followers. They said just some friends who created the best brand for Game Pass news and Xbox news. And obviously, they have also VGT Gaming News as well. They're not affiliated with Xbox or Xbox Game Pass, but they do report on Xbox news. So to have nearly 70,000 people following you tells me that you know what you're talking about. I follow them. Well, they tweeted this, Umbra, and it's very interesting, and they have some stats, some actual hardline numbers, which is what I like to consider evidence-based conversation. And I love that because, again, opinions, they're like a-holes. Everyone has one, and they all stink, right? But this is numbers, and hard to argue the hard fact and the numbers. So it says this, Umbra. Shortly after Sony announced its price increase for the PlayStation 5 in Japan, the Xbox Series X sales have massively shot up across all Japanese retailers. On Yodobashi, which is a big chain or a big electronic chain, the Xbox Series console shot up to number 8 in the sales chart on August 29th, despite not being in the top 100 the previous day. We'd like to welcome all of the Japanese gamers to the Xbox family. Now, granted, how much is this? I know so a lot of people, they sold 10 consoles. I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers. But I say this to say that it goes to show you that people still watch the market. And when something like the PS5, the price is being raised, and you can get what is considered, listen, the actual specs and numbers of the PS5 current versus the Series X, the Series X is the better console. That's not, I'm not making it up, folks. The numbers are the numbers. Now, do some games run better on a PS5 than the Series X? Sure. And that's optimization. And if you put the work in and you're a developer, you can get your thing running at tip-top shape. But, Umbra, when you consider the price increase, the day before it wasn't the Series X was not even in the top 100 at Yodobashi, and has now moved itself into number 8. That's significant. They are a big Japanese electronic retailer. That's a really big deal. Big story of the show? Not really, but one worth a conversation. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, first, I would like to welcome our Japanese brothers to the fold. Irashimase. Welcome. Domo arigato. I'm not trying to be funny. Those are really.
I know.
Words.
I believe you. I've heard you talk Japanese before. So.
Yeah, but listen, I have to bring a bit of reality to it. Now it's at number 1. It looks like
Wow.
it was at number 2 about 12 hours ago. And if you go to Yodobashi site, it is at the top of popularity. So it looks like it's number 1. I'm believing it's number 1. That's what it looks like. The Black John Nani. It looks like it's number 1 according. If you go to the Yodobashi, the site, it looks like it is because it's at the top of the popularity. So I'm gonna guess it's number 1. And
That's
somebody
a pretty big deal. That's
yeah.
a really big deal. Thank you so much for the update. I appreciate that.
Indeed. And according to a user on Twitter here, his name was Kirisu. He put it was 13 hours ago that he put that, and that was it was at number 2 then. So when he posted that, or she posted that, so it looks like it's number 1 now, but there is a bit of I guess it's a few things to this that kind of set this up that kind of make it look much more dramatic than what it is, right? So what it is obviously the price increase from Sony is pretty dramatic because it's not a small little increase. It's not like it's like, oh, just $5 more or something. It's not that, right? And the yen has dropped too, unfortunately. So it's much more harder, not harder, but it's economically it's tougher for them to justify paying for that, right? And you know that's what that comes down to. Also, apparently the PlayStation had sold out, so it was a mixture of that plus people saying, okay, well, we're not paying more to get a PlayStation. And then we all know Japan is Nintendo territory, right? It's pretty clear. If anybody's going to sell anything, even if they raise the price to their lower yen, it would be Nintendo, not Xbox, not Sony, Nintendo. But I think that a lot of our Japanese brothers and sisters are seeing this and saying, hey, well, the Xbox is still cheaper and I can get a lot of the games I would play anyway. So I'm going to get that. Now, I think the numbers are not dramatic for what Xbox has sold through or been reserved for.
No, it's not 10 million sold there. It's just
like
not.
It's like 1,000 or more. Probably now, if it's at number 1, it's probably at the 2,000 range or something like that. Different SKUs at this point. When I looked last, I think it was like 1,000 or so. So that could be in 2,000. I don't know. But it's not like, oh, they sold through 20,000 or something like that, right? Just to set the table. So I think it tells us a few things. One, Xbox has a better price point, clearly. And our Japanese brothers and sisters are not so anti-American or any other thought that anybody would run with, that they're saying, hey, we won't buy this American-made, or at least Mexico or China-made console. I'm being fun. I'm sorry. We know it's not made here. But anyway, they are not so adverse to buying something that is tied at least to an American company, right? If it's a value there, which Xbox is, and the price is right, come on down, they will go ahead and do that. And that's what this is showing us. Also, again, we have to keep in mind that economically their money is down. It's costly to try to get into gaming already. So imagine trying to do that and get into this high-end AAA gaming.
They're also very PC focused as well. They're very. If you're familiar with the Asian market when it comes to electronics, specifically gaming, PC rules the roost there. It just does.
Yeah. Master, could you elaborate? I'm not sure what he means. He says Umbra is mostly China. I'm not sure what you mean, but is that well, we're talking about the yen here with Japan. I'm not sure if you kind of elaborate for me if you could, please. And like Calorie said, Japan is mostly mobile and handheld centric, right? Korea is heavy on PC. China is super heavy on PC.
Yep.
So I think that, you know, also this is why they banked on the S doing really well in Japan, because it's small. A lot of our Japanese family like smaller devices, and I don't know what their fascination is about smaller things. Oh, look at it, the little toy dog or whatever. I don't know, but whatever the case, I think this shows that if Xbox plays it right with pricing, it can do better over there. And I don't know how long this will last. Hopefully it keeps going well. I mean,
Yeah.
they can use all the sales they can get over in in Japan. So we'll see. I don't know in the East, but it is what it is. I think though, again, Sony's going to struggle there with that price increase, and especially with the Pro once it releases, it's just not going to sell well, I think.
Look, it's sales that they normally would not have. And obviously, a big market player, Korkenstein, like PlayStation, made a major financial move to raise prices. It sent shockwaves enough to get the quote unquote American console into the top, until number one at Yodobashi. And again, if you're unfamiliar with who they are, they're basically one of the biggest electronic retailers in Japan. Like they are like Amazon would be for here, or or if you're looking across like electronics, or Best Buy, if you will. They're pretty big. So for the Series X and the S, specifically the Series X, to get from not being in the top 100 Korkenstein to now number one in a day and a half, I'm sorry to say, again, I'm not selling this as they just sold 10 million X Series X consoles. That's not what I'm suggesting. But there is enough here, I think, for a conversation, which we're having, and this is good for Xbox. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think we're finally starting to see the foothold that Xbox has been working on. A lot of the fruit of their labor that they've been investing into Japan here. I mean, how many Japanese games came to Game Pass? We have the Persona series, we have Yakuza. Yep. We're gonna have I believe it's I'm blanking, Metaphor, I believe is the name of it.
Yeah, Metaphor. Yes, looks fantastic.
That's coming. There's a lot, and I just, I see PlayStation making the same mistakes. This whole thing, that everything PlayStation's done so far is very PlayStation 3 again. It's just that PlayStation arrogance of, we can raise the prices, we have these games, you're going to buy Concord because it's a PlayStation game and we're known for our bangers, and it's not the case. Same thing what happened with PlayStation 3. They overshot the price. They tried to make people buy, and it just didn't have. I just see a lot of the same things, and I think that's what's happening here. People push back, and I think that's what's happening with Japan is they're seeing what a great value Xbox really is. It's very consumer forward. Like we were talking about the other day, or like a long time ago when we first heard about the PlayStation Pro, as well, when people are thinking, are you going to spend $650 on something, or are you going to spend like $230 and get access to 100 of games, day one games, something like Call of Duty, Metaphor, and who knows what other Japanese games might be coming to Game Pass? Which is the better deal? And just like Umbra, perfect point, I was going to make the same one. The yen is down. They need that economy boost. They need tourism to come back up again. And it's people will always vote with their wallets when it comes down to it. And that's what's been the key for Xbox this whole entire generation, is being very affordable and consumer friendly. And I think we're finally seeing it in Japan. I mean, they're very mobile heavy, of course, the Switch. They like gaming on the go, but they also like PC, things like that. But I think now they're starting to see that, Xbox has value for them. And I think they're going to, word's going to start getting around. Oh, what's the sex? Why didn't I invest in this sooner? I get 100 games. What you mean? I could play Persona. I mean, yeah, it's, an older game for them over there, but especially like when Metaphor comes out, oh, I can play this day one and it's only $17. Why didn't I do this sooner? Who else knows? Visions of Mana just came out as well, I believe, or is coming out soon. So there's a lot that Xbox has been really putting Japan, and I think finally we're seeing Japan realizing the investment that Xbox has put into it there and the value that it has. And I think that's just the biggest thing right there. It could be a big jump because of PlayStation. Maybe a lot of them already have it, but now they're looking for a second console. Who knows? But I think, with the whole price increase with PlayStation, it's just very PlayStation 3 again. And it's just, it's frustrating, to say the least.